All right, so when we take a look at projectile motion at an angle, there's a very specific set of steps that we need to do, and it's important to methodically go through these as we go through. So this ball is kicked at an angle 30 degrees above the horizontal with a speed of 60 meters per second. We want to find out how far distance in the x direction the ball will travel before it hits the ground. So let's go ahead and draw the ball being kicked, and it's covering a certain displacement. And then what we need to do is we need to take that velocity and figure out what is the initial x velocity, what's the initial y velocity using trig. And so we can do that. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. For the y, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. And we should get 13.856 meters per second for the x velocity. For our y velocity, we should get 8 meters per second. So we know in the x direction, the x velocity is going to stay the same, right? So delta x equals vx times time. And that doesn't change, right? The x velocity stays the same. If we want to know how far it goes, that's delta x. We know vx now, so that's good. But we don't know how much time is in the air. The amount of time that it's in the air is dependent upon what's going on in the y. And so if we take a look at that, the y velocity at the top right here is 0. So if we do that, we can use this equation. Final velocity equals initial velocity plus acceleration times time. It's 0 halfway. The initial y velocity is 8 because this ball is being sent up into the air. So the initial initial y velocity is 8. And so the time halfway is 0.8163. And therefore, if we multiply by 2, we can get the time the full way. And when we do that, it's pretty easy in the x. We know the x velocity, we know the time, and it's going to go 22.62 meters. All right, so for this one, why don't you go ahead and give this one a try. Cannonball is shot at an angle 52 degrees above the horizon with a speed of 116 meters per second. How far in the x will it go? Assuming no air resistance. And yeah, so go ahead and try that one. Go ahead and pause the clip and see if you can get this one. And then when you're ready to check, you can hit play to continue. Okay, so the first thing you should have done is figure out the x velocity and the y velocity. The x velocity initials 71.42. The initial y velocity 91.41. And we know the final y velocity at the top is 0. We can find time halfway, 9.327. Time the full way, 18.655. And therefore, how far is it going to go? 1,332.34 meters will be how far it goes.